Hola, my loves. Again, sending you peace, love, and blessings from ATL, Georgia. Okay? I just had to do that. What it do for ya? Anywho's, this video is going to be about how our souls choose our parents and soul, basically, which is what I call soul realignment as well. So I'm going to talk about that because that was something that I was definitely interested in, and to getting to know, like, I know that we choose our parents, but why do we choose the parents we choose? My soul had already told me, give me some hints to it. However, I did a little research, and then it's also addition to, like always, I do my research, and I also do meditation and things, and allow my higher self to speak to myself, because that's really the best way for you to receive the correct information. And then a lot of times what you'll do when you do your research, you actually find the information that resonates with what your soul told you, what your higher self told you. And so basically it's a confirmation of what you already knew. That's how you know that something is actually truth. Okay? All right, so I'm going to jump into it as always, because I don't like to play games with it. How our soul chooses our parents, or our soul alignment. So how we choose our parents is through tapping into our Akashic Records. And if anyone is not sure what that is, because I know we've heard that word, but it doesn't mean that you understand what it is. And I'm going to explain what it is. And that's what I actually like to do. I like to explain things that may have been put out there into the universe. However, it hasn't come back, or you haven't recalled it yet. You know, is what I like to say, because we already know all of this information. However, it's a recollection of it. All right, so your Akashic Records are a series of records or books that record all of your experiences, your thoughts, your words, your emotions, and intent that have occurred in your soul's existence, that's been recorded on the spiritual and or the etheric plane. So basically, you know how in the Bible it talks about during judgment, and when you die, and during judgment, that Jesus or the angel, I can't recall at this time, pulls out this book, and it has everything that you've done. That's your Akashic Records. Okay? All right. Now, there are 4 factors utilized in the process of choosing your parents. And I'm going to start off with the law of attraction being the first one. So the law of attraction, how that works is, whatever your vibrational frequency or state was when your soul transitioned, this is based on your magnetism of your heart chakra. And the heart chakra's magnetism determines our emotional body. And if you don't know what your and that's the emotional body carried in this lifeline and previous lifelines. If you're not familiar with the emotional body is, the emotional body is the layer of energy. So you know we have our 7 chakras. We also have higher chakras as well. And in the higher chakras are our subtle energies. And the subtle energies is our emotional body. And so what the emotional body is, this is a layer of energy that is beyond the etheric body. Okay? Because each layer, so our chakras here are denser, and then each layer gets less dense. What density means is how low or how high the vibration is. So in the physical body, we have a very low vibration. That's why we appear to be solid. The higher the vibration, the less dense you are. That's why people can see ghosts, because ghosts do not have a physical body. However, they vibrate higher, and their density is less than what our density is. Okay? All right. Yeah. So it is beyond your etheric body, and it is unique to each individual. All right. Your emotional body, basically, it contains all of your emotions and feelings, including those created by unresolved issues from other lifetimes. So that's why you carry that baggage, basically, from your previous lifeline or lifetime to the next lifeline, because your emotional body is one of the few bodies that you carry with you from lifeline to lifeline to lifeline. All right? That's why I put in a note, therefore it plays a major role in our soul realignment, which is how we choose our parents. So think of it as basically you ended with an imbalance between your positive, your ego, and your negative, your higher self. Those two polarities were not balanced when you transitioned, therefore law of attraction, or they could have been more balanced. So it's just basically the balance. So your ego could have been here, your higher self here. However, you're still not balanced, or whatever. However, it impacts the law of attraction or magnetism for you choosing your parents. All right, so your birth family has to match your vibrational state is basically what I'm saying, which is part of universal law, that law. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the next thing. All right, so the second factor that determines that is karma. Now, karma is actually tied into the law of attraction, because at the same time, law of attraction does still affect the magnetism. However, I went ahead and separated. I chose to separate it in order to explain what karma actually is and how it plays a part in it. So karma is the sum of your actions in this and previous lives. While the law of attraction deals with the state of your heart, where your heart was at the time of your transition, like if your heart was depressed or stressed, or if it was in a blissful state, karma deals with the decisions or choices that you made in all of your lives, okay? So basically your birth family has to match your karma history as well. All right? Karma history, all that is in your records. That's also universal law. The third thing that impacts how we choose our parents is plant lessons. So in order to fulfill our soul purpose and complete what I call this game that we're in, our soul has chosen a sequence of lessons to aid our soul in evolution through human experience, okay? And that is through teaching us lessons, i.e. what I call the universal school of the soul. So these lessons aid us in resolving our karmic debt and also elevating our magnetism, so increasing our magnetism, because a lot of times people's magnetism in their heart actually is barely there. Most people are actually truly spiritually dead because they are so consumed in ego that they have totally forgot that they have a soul. And that is and that's mainly people who truly are in some type of religion, because what I noticed when I was, following the Christian doctrine, even though it's like that thing where your parents, they tell you one thing but they do another, so you actually don't follow their words, you follow their actions. That's how the Bible is. That's how people treat the Bible. So the Bible tells you one thing. It tells you the soul, tells you you're not the flesh. It tells you that you're supposed to please the soul and not the flesh. Yet most people in Christianity please the flesh. And so since most people, again, that's because people look at Jesus represents, to a lot of people in Christianity, it represents like your parental guidance. And so the authority in your life. So Jesus is the authority in your life. Your parents are the authority in your life. And I'm not sure why I'm doing quotations for the parents. However, they are the authority in your life. However, Jesus is a fictional authority in your life. And if your physical authority in your life is not living up to the words that they're saying, the words that are coming out of their mouth, then most of the time you are going to actually go by their lead, which is the actions that they do, because you lead by example. And so that's why a lot of people that are in Christianity and that are also in Islam, even though I didn't grow up into Islam, my sister's husband, he's a Muslim, and so you see that a lot of people, they fall short of that. You know what I'm saying? They fall short of that doctrine. And so that is exactly why I felt like this is a great topic to talk about, because it makes sense if you really think about it, how we choose our parents at the soul stage of our life, meaning not being in the physical vehicle, but being in our true essence. Okay? Each time we reincarnate, we're basically starting over to remember who we truly are. So, of course, when you're a baby, when you first come into the vehicle, When a baby, you are the closest to God. You are the closest to the cosmic mother, and to the universe, and connecting to all of the celestial beings, and into who your true self is. You actually probably do have some recollection actually into who you are, and you are probably looking at everyone around you as that they're crazy and that something is wrong with them, because they are looking at this physical vehicle, because again, they are thinking that you are that vehicle. They're not recognizing the fact that you are a soul, even though their doctrine tells them that you are a soul. So they're talking to you like, oh, look at this cute little itty bitty baby, and then doing the goo goo gaga, because they're not understanding that you're speaking in a tongue language, a tonal language, and that tonal language has a very high frequency, and a much higher frequency than this English that we're speaking, or whatever language on this particular planet that anybody's speaking. So anybody can down English, you can down French, you can down German, you can down any other language that's out there. However, the only language that to me is truly important is the language that comes out of the child's mouth, the tonal language, because to me that's universal. Because as far as I can see, when you see babies, they all sound the same to me. They all sound the same. The only when they start to change is when they develop the tongue of the native land that they were born into. So I'm not gonna get into all of that, because that will be a whole nother video. All right. What else? So the challenge is dealing with childhood issues when you continue through to adulthood, and if you finally come to the realization of the soul being the only truth of our existence. Okay. And in order to get to the stage of realization or awakening, this may include certain struggles or challenges that we chose for ourselves to have during childhood, in order or because these struggles, or vital struggles I should say, were experiences that we needed in order to spiritually grow and to awaken. And I like to think of that as an alarm clock. So I like to think that we all, when we were in the spiritual realm, that we decided to come up with these challenges. And even though we are co-creating everything, it's not all of us. We are co-creators of this script, because the cosmos are also working, because we still have things that we have to learn. And by the cosmos, I mean the other planetary bodies like Saturn and things. There are certain planets that are set out to give us that type of discipline and give us the challenge to see if we are ready to move to the next grade level. Just like in school, you have to take a test in order to move to the next grade. Okay. All right. So I say all that to say that we set up these alarm clocks in order to wake us up at certain moments in our lives to say, this isn't real. It's like the Truman Show. It's like that movie. So when he saw his father die, but then he saw his father, he was like, what the hell is going on? That was when his consciousness started to wake up. His soul started to remember basically who he was, and that this shit was not a reality. This is only what we created. This is truly the dream state. This is truly the time when we're sleeping, to be honest. And so the ones who wake up in this particular dream state, you are actually realizing who you truly are. And so when we're in the spirit realm, when we set up those challenges to have an alarm clock go off at a certain point, we have certain people who set up alarm clocks. So it's just like how you'll set up the alarm clock. Let's say you have to get up at 5 a.m. That's the best time for you to get up to get to work on time. So you set your alarm clock at 5 a.m., okay? However, the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. You go ahead and snooze it for another 5 minutes. The alarm clock goes off at 5:05. You snooze it another 10 minutes. So then the alarm clock goes off at 5:15. There are some people that have just keep hitting snooze. So that 11:11 wake up call been coming, and you keep hitting the snooze. Doesn't mean that you weren't getting the signal from the universe. It just means the wake up signal or call. It just means that you chose to snooze. Okay, and so basically that's really what the lessons are for. The lessons are for us to go through these things, to teach us some things that we needed to learn on this journey, to not only heal past issues, but also to teach us things on the human experience that will elevate us and grow us in our higher self. Because the reason why we choose to go on a human experience is so that we can go through things that we would not basically be able to relate to or truly experience unless we are in a human body. All right. So the difficult part is that we may not have an understanding of why we are experiencing these challenges at that time that we're experiencing it. That's the difficult part of being in this human experience. Because when you're a child and you're going through things, you just, all you know is that shit don't seem right, or you feel like a victim. Because as a child, you truly are, even though the body is what's young and not the soul, you still are the victim of it, because you are in the most innocent period in the human cycle. So you basically have to, or don't have to, you basically work towards understanding why those challenges were put, why those lessons or why those challenges were given to you, which you gave to yourself, part of the reason being. And once you learn why, you are able to grow in it. You see what I'm saying? Because you're able to accept what it was supposed to build in you, because everything is a character builder. And as it's building your character, your spiritual character is building also, I like to think, your ego. Because the ego likes to be appeased. And so you have to throw the ego a bone. All right? So basically, the whole balancing act is learning who you truly are, understanding why you're going through those lessons, passing those lessons, but also giving the ego a little something, because you don't want to starve the ego. It's just like you trying to starve. That's like you trying to go cold turkey, be like, oh, I'm going on a diet, I've been eating all crazy, so now I'm just gonna cut out, I've been eating meat my whole life, now I'm just gonna cut out meat. You're going to wind up failing most of the time, because you are literally starving the ego. You're literally starving the thing that you've been feeding, that beast that you've been feeding the whole time. Okay? And, yeah, that's my take on it. That was me actually having a side note. Let me make sure I finish my notes here. The last note on the planned lessons was, with any process, it becomes clearer the longer you have this human experience if you reach the point of awareness of true self. So all things that are in the rearview mirror that are behind you, they become clearer the longer that you have the human experience, if you're meant to awake during this time, because everybody's not meant to awake during this particular lifeline. However, the more of us that continue to grow in our consciousness, the more people that will grow, because we are actually becoming the new normal, which is truly the old normal, because most of us are old souls. There are some new souls here as well. Welcome to the party. However, a lot of us have reincarnated over and over again in this experience. Okay. All right. And the last point that I wanted to bring across is what I call previously connected souls, or same soul group. So usually our parents, our siblings are from the same soul group, or souls from previous relationships in another life form. If you look at your natal chart, you'll see if you get into the actual portion where it talks about your north and your south nodes, your south node is indicative of your past life. So my south node is Pisces. My baby sister is Pisces. And my son's sign is Sagittarius, and most Sagittarius had some type of previous connection to a Capricorn. My oldest sister is a Capricorn. My sister that is a year younger than me, both of us are Sagittarius. So you start to see some type of connection. And then when you get into even deeper into it, you start seeing how I saw the connection with my mother and also with my father, as why it made sense as to why I would have chose them as parents. So that's why I say that even though astrology is not the end all be all, it is a template that you can use. It's like a blueprint of a building that you can utilize in order to elevate or increase your self-awareness, or awareness of who you truly are, of self, your soul. Okay. Let me go back to it because that was me going off course. So basically, when I said that your parents and your siblings are from previous relationship that you had in another life form, it means that your parents could have been either your children or your siblings in some shape, form, or fashion. And that's the same thing with your siblings. You know, one of them could have been a parent. Like you could just be exchanging roles. Not, you know what I'm saying, exchanging roles the whole time. However, you're still in that same soul group, and that's why you're doing so. And so sometimes, basically, it's meant for one or two people to wake up in that soul group, or one person in particular, or however many, and that person's awakening and that person's achievement through their awakening, their soul journey, will cause a trickle-down effect for everyone else to get it. All right, so basically we are repeating this cycle in different roles, like I said, and I call it a movie script in order for us to finally achieve resolve. All right, so I hope that gave you clarification as to how we choose our parents, and the correlation to what I call soul realignment is basically setting ourselves back to where we were when we transitioned on to the next life form. And I, as always, want to send you guys love and appreciation for watching my videos, for sending me love, for checking out my Instagram page, Knowledge Butterfly, where I provide inspiration for you guys to keep on going on this race, and or journey, I should say. And I provide you guys also beautiful pictures of my food, because I love to cook. Food is love. Love is food. Love is anything that's in your heart. So I like to send that out to you guys. So again, love, bliss, and abundance to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.